Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello? Okay. Oh, Landon's probably just looking at his stuff.
Did you ask me something? Sorry, maybe you did cut out.
I did.
Did anybody hear that? Because I can't.
No, I didn't.
Sounds like a robot to me.
Sorry. Hello, Landon. Do you want to give your summary?
Yeah, sure. So I had me and you had the college students and nutrition, right? And then I had the social peer pressure on nutrition. So the first article I found was probably the most effective. It was so I'll just read the summary. It's sociocultural pressure to be thin is common among adolescents and young adults, and in result is having an effect on good nutrition. So basically that article just talks about how peer pressure for adolescents and young adults, how they have this peer pressure from everyone around them that's kind of pressuring them into looking super good and having great bodies and whatever. And that's actually having a negative effect on health and obesity. It's actually increasing obesity in the study they did. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then let's see if there's anything else. I posted a few articles that has to do with that topic, but that one was the one that stuck out to me the most, probably. Let's see. Oh, I didn't read this one like completely, but I thought this one was actually pretty interesting too. This one says research suggests that secure attachment to God. So it's not really like I guess peer pressure, but it kind of is at the same time because it's religion. But it says research suggests that secure attachment to God protects against eating disorder risk factors, but studies have not examined how attachment to God might moderate the effects of cultural pressure on eating disorder symptoms. So that kind of goes into that. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they would even do a study on something like that. So I just posted that just because it might be interesting to look at.
Yeah, let's make a note of that in our ideas. A possible research we want to do was belief in God corresponding to, although that'd be hard at BYU because everybody believes in God.
Yeah, that's
it's gonna be hard to have a control group. Belief in God and diet. Positive diet. But we could do activity in the church and see how it corresponds to nutrition.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was super interesting because I didn't even think of making a connection to that nutrition at all. And then I saw that study and I was like, what? So.
Well, and what's funny too is also in one article I read, it talked about how nutrition, so I had stress. I had stress as it relates to diet. And it said that there was those who have high levels of stress and low social support are more at risk to eat unhealthy. And those who have low stress and high social support are at very low risk of eating unhealthy. So I wonder if church somehow incorporates a social aspect too.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Yeah, and then I just have a few more articles that kind of have to do some. I couldn't find ones that were specific really to college students and peer pressure, but I mean, I found kind of the adolescent age the most probably. And then I got one that has to do with alcohol I think. And I mean, alcohol obviously has a negative effect on nutrition. So, and then the topic that we shared, let's see if I can even remember which ones I did and which ones you did. Let's see.
So yours are probably all at the start.
First. All right, yeah. So the first one I got is pretty relevant to college students. I'll just read the summary. It says poor dietary behaviors are risk factors for developing chronic diseases that plague public health. The purpose, this study is sought to determine the differences in pre and post food label and food choices among first year college students at the beginning and end of the semester. So that one like looks at college students and their nutrition from reading labels, which I think is pretty interesting. So that looks more at the college age group. Let's see. Then we have, and then I kind of got one for diabetes. Type 2 diabetes family history significantly associated with protective nutrition behaviors. Data was collected via web-based survey from undergraduate students. So that one actually was interesting because that one has to do with college students too, but I think if I remember right, that one goes into like different nationalities of college students. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
So is that one saying that if you have a history of diabetes in your family, you're more likely to eat healthy?
Let's see here. I did this like the very first day that we were working on it, but let's see. Fruits and vegetables. Oh, my bad. So the next one actually looks at the different cultures, and the one before that looks like it's something else. It's fruits and vegetables consumption and use of posted caloric information were outcome variables in demographic and family history. So yeah, that one kind of looks at family history and nutritional habits for undergraduate students.
Interesting.
And then the one that I was talking about has to do, it looks at different ethnic minority undergraduate students. And I thought that was pretty interesting. A total of 187 ethnic minority undergraduate students, 41% men, 60% women completed a study. And it just looks at nutrition and eating disorders.
So what was the conclusion about if you are ethnic? If you're an ethnic minority, how's
I'd have to look at it again, but let's see if I can. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, if you even want to come back to me, I can
okay.
Read up on it and come back to it.
All right, so I found quite a few articles just talking about how those college students who take a nutrition course get better nutrition. So there's this one study that said that as you take a college course, then your consumption of fruits and vegetables increase. Although the study suggested that there wasn't any difference in iron intake and other things like that. So it just made college students want to eat fruits and vegetables more, but not really avoid meats, I guess. Then moving on, there was, oh yeah, so here, this was interesting. They did a study comparing consumption patterns of convenience foods of university students. So when the amount of pocket money available be indicators for if we want to do an intervention or further research on, we could look at corresponding your income level as a college student, your knowledge about nutrition, and your BMI. If you have a higher BMI, then you eat a lot of convenience food. So we could actually predict that these people eat convenient food, like things go on the go. So that was interesting. This one was interesting. 8% of surveyed students were categorized as overweight on the basis of their BMIs. However, 50% of the students who were rated underweight on the basis of their BMIs classified themselves as overweight. So they wouldn't be diagnosed as overweight, but they're diagnosing themselves as overweight. 39% of the students reported exercising 3 or more times a week. That means, 60% of people don't exercise 3 or more times a week. 76% of the students reported that they ate the same foods day after day. So they're eating the same foods every single day as college students. Recommendations, anyways, so there was that. Then moving on. So are college women following dietary guidelines for Americans? Participants reported diets that were nutritionally adequate but exceeded national recommendations for fat, sugar, and sodium. And their reports of exercise habits suggested that lifestyles of 66% of the respondents were sedentary. Although the students, I found this was interesting. Although the students' mean BMIs suggested healthy weights, 25% of the women were classified as overweight. So here we find the problem with BMI. So although a woman's BMI looks fine, they were actually unhealthy and they were actually classified as overweight. The majority of participants were following at least one of the 7 dietary guidelines. However, no participant was adhering to all proposed behaviors. That was interesting. Nearly half, 46% of all students were reported they were trying to lose weight. Female students were less likely than male students to be overweight, but more likely to be trying to lose weight. So I find that interesting, that they weren't as nearly as fat, but they were trying harder than the males to lose weight. So guys just don't care, I guess.
No, they don't.
Female and male students who reported using, So people who, when asked about losing weight, they associated it with physical and strengthening exercises, and consumption of less than 2 servings a day of high-fat foods. Female and male students who reported using exercise to lose weight were more likely than those who did not participate, were more likely to eat more than 5 servings a day of fruits and vegetables and less than servings a day of high-fat foods. So basically, those who are trying to lose weight and are exercising actually eat better as well. Among students who are trying to lose weight, only 54% of females and 41% of males use both exercise and diet for weight control, meaning that approximately 50% of all students are not using exercise and diet to lose weight. They're only using one or the other.
Why? You're thinking you're going to buy it.
Thinking buying it
And
selling it. Just flipping it. Buy it, sell it.
This one suggests.
Is it worth the issue of trying to sell it?
This one was.
You already got one car you're trying to sell.
Dietary patterns for freshmen and sophomores in college. Obviously, the freshman 15 or whatever is
buying it for.
At the beginning of freshman year, 29% of students reported not exercising, 70% ate fewer than 5 fruits and vegetables daily, and more than 50% ate fried food or high-fat foods at least 3 times during the previous week. By the end of their sophomore year, 70% of the 290 students were reassessed had gained weight, but there was no apparent association with exercise.
Hurry, honey, I'm in an online class meeting.
Future research is needed. Okay. Yeah, so basically, it's a real thing, the freshman 500. Or 15, hopefully not 500.
What was he asking for it?
curious.
More
So,
Okay.
he says yes, but
than 20 grams of fiber a day. Pretty much,
Okay. Sounds good.
college students suck at nutrition. That's what I got out of it.
Sorry.
Then stress was interesting. Stress levels and diets. Females and non-athletes are more likely to be stressed, and that stressed students are less likely to practice healthy behaviors and are more prone to practice bad eating habits such as eating junk food. When stressed, subjects with an increased appetite chose significantly more types of sweet foods and mixed dishes. Sweet foods commonly eaten were desserts, chocolate candy bars, candy, ice cream, muffins, sweetbreads, and fresh or canned fruit, whereas mixed dishes commonly eaten were burgers or sandwich meat items, pizzas, casseroles, tacos, ethnic food, and fast food. Interestingly, oh, this was cool. The variety of foods selected in each category decreased under stressful conditions. In other words, when we get stressed as college students, we eat really bad foods, but only one type of bad food. We only eat pizza for like a week straight. And that was interesting. And there was a correlation. There was a correlation in between stress levels and eating more. Higher levels of stress may lead to night eating behaviors because of use of maladaptive coping strategies. So they actually found that when you're stressed, you're more likely to eat at night as well before going to bed, which of course we know goes straight to your hips. And oh, this one was interesting. The effect of tests and examinations on eating behavior and blood lipid levels. So no general effects of exam stress on food intake were observed. Interaction, stress, and dietary restraint. However, students in exam stress group with high trait anxiety and low social support showed significant decreases in total energy intake or eating a lot of food. So basically, that's what I was saying earlier, that if you have an exam and you have no social support, then you are more likely. If you have social support and you have stress or high levels of stress, you're less likely. You're more likely not to stress eat.
Can you say that again about the exams? You just cut out.
What was that?
Sentence again about the exams. You just cut out. Kind of.
So the study suggests that college students who are taking exams, if they have a social support, they are less likely to stress eat. If they have social support, they are less likely to stress eat. So
Okay.
that was cool. Then there was another study done in 7 different cities that said food and fast food was significantly associated with depression. The link between food consumption frequency, perceived stress, and depression suggests that diet intervention may be considered a mediate strategy integrated in psychology prevention program among normal population. So basically, this study found that as you're depressed, you also have bad eating behaviors. Okay. That was it for mine.
Well, mine was really easy. I couldn't find anything. Curtis found one for majors on a Korean study. I was looking for the United States. There was also some on there for Mexico. As far as single versus married, I didn't find anything there either. I'm sorry. I looked. I literally looked. I really did. I didn't brush it off. I looked for a couple of hours and couldn't find nothing. So I'm not trying to push all the work onto you guys. Know that.
That tells us a lot as well. That tells us that there's not a lot of studies done on majors and how it affects nutrition. So that may be where we want to focus our research. But the one I did find was done in Korea. They did a study in between those who are nutrition majors and those who are not nutrition majors. And they found that those who are nutrition majors are more likely to weigh themselves each week, are more likely to change dietary lifestyles, are more likely to calculate food calories, and have nutrition. So pretty much what we would assume happened.
Cut out on
Nutrition majors. Summary was nutrition majors are healthier than non-nutrition majors.
Yeah, and as far as single versus married students, there was nothing. No matter how I searched that one, there was nothing. And I don't know. That one's going to be kind of a, I don't know, that could really gonna go either way because married students don't have a lot of money.
I ran into some studies that suggested that if you live at home as a college student, you are more likely to eat healthy than if you live in dorms and in apartments. And I wonder if that's
yeah, there was that, but then that's all I could think of. We've got some topics. Did Mac post anything?
Mac, unhealthy diet on social life.
Let's see.
Not seeing anything. No.
Okay.
And then Mac also had nutrition and grades. Oh, there it is. No, he didn't. That's sad.
Yeah, I think with I think that would be kind of something to, especially because there's not a lot of research on there, like with the majors, because we have seen in our articles, it seems like that stress does have an effect on eating habits. And I mean, like, there's definitely more stressful majors than other majors, you know? Because I know, like, my major is like a lot more stressful than like probably an art major. Or I don't know. That might be I don't know if I should say that, but I mean, I think it is. So I mean, that might have an effect on how I eat because I'm more stressed with kind of the classes I've been taking, I guess. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Do you want me to summarize what I found real fast?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So there wasn't much research on like money or finances, like specifically. Sorry. Sorry, guys. But so I found. Hey. Okay, maybe I should summarize in a second. Anyway, my summaries are on there, so just read them.
Okay. Okay, so which ones did she do?
Let's see here.
So can you guys hear me again?
Yes.
I totally went out of the whole Google chat thing.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, I found two really good ones on the differences in like attitude towards food between men and women. Both of them used a survey format and just asked questions about how men and women feel about food and like the nutrition content, and then what also influences them to like make certain choices in their food. This first one is about specifically fast food, and it asked some university students how often they eat fast food and then why they eat it. And it was interesting, more men said they eat fast food because it's inexpensive and economical compared to women. Most women didn't, that wasn't their main reason, but it was men's main reason. And then men obviously eat more fast food than women in this particular population. Let's see. Yeah, this next one is also, they interviewed undergraduate students from 6 different colleges and asked them kind of like how concerned they were about what they ate. And the study was interesting. It said a minority, like a significant minority of both women and men, stated that they were concerned about their food when it comes to weight and health. So most students really didn't care about what they ate, and there wasn't much of a difference between men and women there. Let's see. And then this one was interesting too. This has to do with eating disorders. But they surveyed again like 350 college students. And they asked them questions about bulimia and maybe like the prevalence of bulimia in their lives, and 87% of those who had bulimia symptoms were female and 13% were male. So it's obviously a huge problem for females, but not for males as much. So yeah, that's pretty much all I found there. Yeah, those are the most interesting ones, I thought.
It looks like we got a few different ways we can go. Let's see, what we just needed to come up with our topic today. Is that it? I can't remember. You guys, I've got so many things going through my head.
All right, so now we need to figure out an outline for our essay, our literature review, and we have to include 10 articles. So yeah, so now I'm in the literature review outline right now, but also we will have to be coming up in the future with questions to ask about our questions to do our research on. I'm trying to find which was that Debbie was talking about, I think. And so for that, I'm almost wondering if we should just do across the board broad nutrition, nutrition and college students, but then focus on those topics, create a survey that focuses that we discussed. So, for example, you know, what's your major? And so we try and figure out what their health status is. You know, what's your weight? What's your height? From weight and height, we can calculate BMI. Then we can correspond the BMI to their other things they answer, which include, you know, or we can ask them how many, and then we can correlate that to students with their majors, with stress levels, with credit counts, with their gender, with their perception of food. Do they have a positive or a negative relationship with their food? What other things stood out to you guys as we were doing the review?
I'm kind of wondering if we don't need to narrow it a little bit, like pick a little bit. I mean, because this could get really broad really quick.
What's your fear?
That we're going to have more information and we're not going to have the information that we need, that it's going to be so broad that we're going to, I know what I'm thinking, that we're going to have, that it's not going to be narrow enough, I guess, to answer a specific question. Do we have specific questions about any of this that we need to? Does any of that even make sense?
I kind of see what you're saying.
I mean, so are we going to study? I mean, our overall subject is nutrition in college students, and what of that is our main concern? What about nutrition in college students do we want to know?
All right.
Sorry, go ahead, Lucy.
No, so are you just saying like we need a specific question so we can like find a specific answer in our survey? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, kind of. I think we need to like pick a topic about it. You know, are we gonna study pressures? You know, how does like the BMI and all that work with the stress level? You know, their weight and their credits, and work with stress level. You know, or how does it work with the different sexes? Or, you know what I'm saying, in different little categories instead of a huge all this information, huge thing, not focusing on answering a question.
So the reason why I wanted to go big, perceptions of food and nutrition on college students, we dive into that topic and we don't get any correlation. We're just going to write and say, shoot, we didn't find anything. And it's easier to go broad and then narrow than it is to go narrow and then broad, and now we don't have a choice.
You're cutting out again, man.
Yeah.
Big time.
So in my mind, if I'm making a survey, basically if I'm doing like biostatistics, right, or epidemiology, you take, okay, these are the risk factors. You do, you know, okay, this person did this and this person did this. You put it in an Excel sheet and it summarizes it really quick, and you can look at it and say, there is a correlation between this and stress levels. There is no correlation between this and sex. There is no correlation between this and perception of food, or there is, or there isn't, or there's a positive or a negative. I don't think it would be that hard to do. And I guess the research question that I would pose is, what is the current status of the BYU Idaho student in regards to nutrition? That would be what I would focus on. But if we do, we can go narrow. My own concern is if we go narrow, our survey is going to be like 3 questions. what's your height, what's your weight, and what's your perception of food. And then that's it. Which is good, I guess.
How many questions were you thinking to have on our survey?
So like there was, it depends on the format we wanted to do, but if we wanted to do like 20 questions, it would take maybe 5 minutes for a student to take that. If you did 20 questions, you have different sections. One is your view of nutrition, and other sections, like you could do 4 sections of 5 questions each. So you could do what's your height, what's your weight, what's your sex, what's your attitude towards nutrition, you know, that type of thing. Then you go on to grades and you go, what's your, you know, what's your overall, or what's your average credit count? And then you have whatever, and then say, what's your major? Then you have, what's your stress level, and those things, or how many exams do you take during your classes? And then you have that, and then you go on to different sections, I guess.
If we were to make our questions, have a question and have the answers right there, so they just have to mark it or whatever, make it quick and easy so they can run through it in a matter of minutes. I'm afraid if we do too many questions, we're going to lose them. You know, if we can take 2-3 minutes tops, answer the questions out the door, I think we'll have more responses. You know, like if we can have more questions that they can mark, or yes, no, or
yeah. So I'm not planning on doing any questions where there isn't an already formulated response, because
okay.
when you get free answer, you lose all ability to do analysis.
I agree.
You can't do epidemiology stuff on free answers unless you do like crazy complex word analysis and, you know, try and figure out general themes of their responses and then use it as, you know.
Okay.
But,
okay, I'm understanding where you're going with that now. I was a little confused.
So for our survey though, we don't have to worry about that until for a while though, right? Because first thing we have to do is a peer review, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The next step. Well, but it's all connected, because so right now a literature review is basically, this is the current research, and this is the gap, or this is the thing we want to dive deeper in, or this is the study we found, but we want to know why that is, or how it would relate to BYU Idaho students, or things like that, and so it's basically a persuasive essay saying, this is why we need to do further research on these topics.
Exactly. So how I understand it basically is the literature review could be like college students and nutrition, and go over a bunch of different topics, and kind of towards the end kind of focus on a subtopic more, and kind of prove why more research of that subtopic needs to be looked at. And then our research focuses on that topic that we focus more on. That's kind of how I look at it.
Exactly. So we kind of have already organized our essay outline a little bit in the bibliography. Like the original plan was to just have the first part of the essay is basically an intro to college students and health. So me and Landon stuff, we go in and we say, this is the current status of college students and health. Pretty much we suck. And then you can go into sex differences, and then you start getting more nuanced, right? So then you go into like, men don't care and are suffering worse health than women, and women are doing this based on the study. And then you dive into other things like, then you get into other things like your social life and your stress levels and those kinds of things that are a little bit more nuanced and not so researched. And then from there, we end it with a conclusion that says something like, based on what we've researched, these are the gaps. And this is what we want to project to do with our own research.
So basically we need to decide on what we want to look at more, like, and do our research on basically.
Yeah, so we kind of do need to come up with a question. We do need to come up with our research topic because that's going to be our conclusion of the essay. Pretty much.
I really think that the whole majors thing is really interesting, but the only downside is there's not a lot of research, I guess. So that kind of makes it hard to support our. I mean, it would come in helpful. I think it'd be pretty easy to do our like own survey with, and just ask. We could even 4 or 5 questions. What is your major? How many credits are you taking? How stressed are you? And then a couple questions about their eating habits.
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting too. I think, isn't it good that there's not a lot of research on it? Because then
I think that's good. So I think that's good for our research, but for our literature review,
right.
we kind of have to prove that there's an issue going on there. So.
We can just say there's not a lot of research done, right? Isn't that justification to do more?
Yeah, I mean, if we could find like a couple articles that probably support that idea and that trend that certain majors have, certain people with enrolled in certain majors have worse eating habits, then if there was like 1 or 2 articles we could find that were like scientific and good articles, and I think that would be something to look at. But
so we want to know, you guys, if I'm understanding correctly, you guys want to know more about majors at BYU, right? In relation to health or nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think that would be.
And we're justifying it based on what we only found one research article, and it was done in Korea.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect justification for why we need to do one here in the U.S. in Idaho. So
yeah, agreed.
And other questions that you guys wanted to ask. So majors, we can definitely justify that with the thing we had. Our research. What also questions do we want to ask? What other ones did we want to ask? I think it might be interesting to somehow, if we could, do the belief in God, and the positive diet, or see how social people are, and how it relates to their diet. So I think we're perfectly set up at BYU to analyze that, because do you go to your FHE or whatever? Do you actively go to your church meetings? Do you engage in any intramural sports or anything, and then correspond that to diet? That also be maybe another question we could ask.
Another thing too is like we could even like compare BYU Idaho and like compare to other schools and other research done like elsewhere, just because chances are the majority of BYU Idaho students are more religiously involved than a good majority of other college students in the nation, I think. So
yes, we can use that as a justification to basically study whatever health topic we want, just by saying, but at our school, which is religious driven, all these other studies were done at non-religious schools. How would that relate to our school? So we want to do these studies again to see how ours would be different. That type of thing. So should I write our research, how our school is different? Or also where our school fits in the health of the nation, or where our school fits, how our school is different, or ranks. others. Okay, so possible research topics to conclude with are, one, our majors. The reasoning is that there's not a lot of research done on it, or two, how our school is different or ranks to others, because our school is inherently different than those presented in the research. Am I still cutting out with you guys?
Right now,
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So of those topics, what do you guys feel? Well, what do you guys want to know? What do you guys want to know? And we can justify it in all sorts of ways. But what do you guys want to know as far as our school, BYU Idaho?
I think the biggest thing for me, I already said it, was the whole major thing.
Okay, majors is big.
Yeah, I think that is really interesting for me. But I also think the religion thing is interesting too. That might be a little harder to write about than the major topic.
So religion's effect on diet. Ooh, yeah, we could do some cool stuff with that. We could dive into word of wisdom stuff, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe in the word of wisdom? And then correspond to that to nutrition. That could be an interesting study.
Yeah.
We could also do, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you go to your meetings? And then correspond that to nutrition as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, how active are you in your callings? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, you could do some interesting stuff on that, and we could totally justify that because there's no research out there, period, for that kind of a thing, right?
I'm also kind of interested in like the social support, like how that same article, right, the one about God, said those with more social support are more likely to eat healthy.
Yeah, that was actually from a different article.
Oh,
But
But I mean, that goes like hand in hand. I think if you're heavily involved in religion, I mean, that's pretty good social support, you know? So.
Yeah.
And how can we justify that in our school? So the study has already been done that says that if you have social support, you're less likely to eat bad when you're stressed.
I think social support kind of falls back into that peer pressure.
Yeah. So how can we justify? There's one method we could go that could say, like, you know, we want to know what that looks like here due to us not being able to drink or smoke or have other word of, like, how does the word of wisdom act as a deterrent?
What about like family home evenings? Like kids get together all the time and like bring treats and snacks and stuff. Also ward activities, the same thing. Some wards do like break the fast on Fast Sunday. Like,
I like what Debbie said about, I mean, how that goes back to peer pressure. And if we did decide to do it on something like that and just looked at peer pressure, we could do our research on the good and bad effects of peer pressure that it has on eating habits. Because I mean, things like church could have a positive effect, while things like other things like I don't know, social groups and who you hang out with can have a negative effect. So.
Remind me again what the study suggested about peer pressure.
So let's see. So that just kind of looked at like the adolescent age and kind of how.
So that could be a leverage point for that. One, there's not a lot of research done for college student and peer pressure. It's all done for adolescents.
And like high school mainly, because I mean, like, I feel like it's more of a problem in high school, especially with like girls, how there's this pressure to look really good and stuff, just because all the cliques and everything that go on in high school kind of make it like that. But I don't think that's as much of a effect in college. So, but I mean, it'd be interesting to look at.
Well, and at BYU Idaho, we don't have like competitive sports. There's no peer pressure to be on the collegiate volleyball team or whatever because we don't have one.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and how many people go to FHE and they're doing really good on their diet? They go to FHE and there's pizza and somebody's saying, "Hey, just come on and have one. It's not going to hurt anything, just one."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so with peer pressure, so I guess our justification for peer pressure is that there's so many other, like there's not a lot of research done in college age students. Okay. Okay, something like that. And then we can dive into stuff you were talking about, Landon, with, we don't care about looking cool, or we don't care about that stuff anymore because we're different. Hopefully we're more mature, maybe. Yeah. Theoretically.
Focus more on stress too, if we wanted to ask a question about stress, because I think stress is big, because stress can also relate to the other things we're looking at too, with majors and stuff like that. So if we look at stress on, like, the amount of stress on the effect that stress has on eating habits and nutrition.
I like that. The research we found suggested that higher amounts of stress leads to poor nutrition, or however, something.
Yeah, that article that I had about the different nationalities actually was talking about stress too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I'll just read the conclusion. It says, in alignment with the American Psychological Association's guidelines to provide culturally component services, findings of the study suggest two important factors to consider when understanding eating disorder symptoms in ethnic minority groups. The first one is stress and perceived discrimination are associated with eating disorders. And then moreover, gender moderated some of these findings. And I'll just go back up to this. This says women experiencing acculturative stress may be more motivated to alleviate the sense of alienation than men due to their double minority status. So yeah, that kind of talks about how stress has a impact on eating disorders. So, and it kind of backs up, I don't know who was mentioning it, but women, from my article, appear to be more willing to get rid of that stress.
So the only justifications that I can come up for those things for stress and gender is just kind of to figure out where we rank in all of this as a university. How stressed and how stressed are we, how unhealthy are we, how whatever, and then kind of almost doing an analysis of our college and our nutrition at this college. Was there any other reasons why we should do stress or gender correlations at BYU Idaho that we found in the research?
think that those were the main points.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think we've got a great thing so far. We can cross out the stuff we're not so passionate about, but right now we're looking at doing a study that corresponds nutrition at BYU Idaho with majors, religious activity, social support, peer pressure, stress levels, and gender. Those are the things. Is there any of those that we feel like we don't want to include? Or do we want to narrow it down to one? Or is there, what do you guys think?
Well, I guess we kind of have to narrow it down to one, because I guess at the end, I mean, we have to kind of persuade why more research needs to be done, right? But I mean, I think those are all good, or the majority of those are good for our literature review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we have our body paragraphs. So the introduction will be overall college students suck, blah, blah, blah. But the research and diving into these subtopics on majors, we do a paragraph on majors. We only found one research article on this, blah, blah, blah. Then another paragraph on social support and how it affects that. Then peer pressure, then stress, then gender. We dive into those, and then we use, then at the end we correspond the research done on that. Or I'm not sure, maybe we can organize it differently. Maybe in the very body paragraphs, we can analyze, we can already start to convince our argument. So it's almost as if the conclusion is in the body paragraphs. So, for example, when we're talking about social support, we say the research, according to so-and-so, the social support has this effect, blah, blah, blah. But what effect would it have in a church school where it's mandatory FHE groups, where there's these different attributes, where the social support directly corresponds to increased levels of take a cookie or eat a cookie, take a lookie, or like other unhealthy behaviors like our break the fast and our whatever. What do you guys think?
I think that something. This is just me talking about what I like what my favorite topic. But I think that something that's cool about the majors topic is we could kind of like combine two of our other topics, because at first, like for our literature review, we could say we didn't find very much research to back up that majors have an effect on nutrition, and then because we found a lot of stuff on stress, right? So I mean, at the end of our literature review, we could say stress and majors can go hand in hand, and I mean, and then what was I going to say? And then social support can help alleviate stress. So I mean, all three of those things kind of go hand in hand with each other, I think, which is kind of cool with the whole major topic. But
I like that. Keep talking. You're having great ideas.
I don't know. Do you guys have any additional thoughts? I mean, what do you guys want to focus on primarily?
I'm interested in the majors too. Yeah, I think you summarized it really good. They do go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
What I'm not so interested in is like gender and diet. I just think that's pretty, I don't know, boring.
So I think it's kind of redundant too.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's been done.
It's been beaten to death too in the research.
Yeah, for sure.
I think with our survey too, we could get pretty straightforward results, because I mean, it's like if we want to give your height and weight and then your major and then how stressed you are. I mean, those are straightforward results. Like, as opposed to if we did like religion, like how involved are you in church? And then, I mean, that's kind of based on whoever's taking the survey's opinion of themselves,
I think one thing we need to be careful about this, and this is like for way later when we write the survey, but like if we ask, I don't know, like specifically women, if you ask them like, how much do you weigh?
Yeah.
They'll lie.
Yes.
That's not a
I
good.
mean, we wouldn't even have to ask weight, but I'm just saying if we ask questions that were more like factual, then I
Yeah.
think better results back.
Yeah.
That's why I like the major thing, because I mean, it's what major are you?
We live in a day and age too where, I mean, so we have anonymity. Anonymity gives them the opportunity to be more honest in their answers. So how would you feel as a woman if I said, I came up with my iPad and I said, here's this anonymous survey, it'll take 2-3 minutes, go ahead and select your answers. And one was weight. And I'm looking away, you just have the iPad. Would you input your actual weight?
Not on your life.
Well, another thing that we can do that can make it easier. I mean, we wouldn't have to say input your weight. We could do like weight ranges. So
That's
that'd be a lot better.
Better. I like that better.
No, I find that interesting. Debbie, why wouldn't you put your real weight on an anonymous survey?
Why? Because I would know if I would know that when you took your iPad back, you would know whose weight that was. And I would, every time I would see you on campus, I'd want to hide.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not know that was such a big deal. Okay.
Yes.
Well, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think people are more comfortable with the like weight
I
brackets.
may feel a little more sensitive to it because I do have a weight issue. So
To be honest, everybody has a weight issue.
Yeah.
true.
So we're in America. Debbie, how would you feel if it was a bracketed system? If it was like 25-pound increments or 50-pound increments, like what scale do you fall in? Would you still feel uncomfortable doing that on an anonymous survey, or would it be easier for you to be honest?
It would be easier.
Okay. So we can do
Then
that.
I'm not giving an exact number.
Gotcha.
That would be easier to organize data too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would definitely do 50-pound increments. I think you'd get more honest answers.
Yeah. 50 pounds is a lot, though.
I think 25 would be good.
We have to, when we look into it, when we're figuring out how we want to organize the survey, we'll have to look at BMI ranges and see if we can't do it by BMI ranges.
Too, so
we can just look at the BMIs that correspond to, overweight, underweight, whatever, and the weights that correspond with those. But then again, it's going to be corresponding to height too, so that doesn't really work. Okay, anyways, we'll figure it out. So for the essay in the introduction, we're just going to talk about give an introduction. That's all we're going to do. Okay, body paragraphs. We're going to start with like concrete research first. Overview of nutrition in college students. And that would include, what do we know about nutrition in college students? Gender. So there's like the concrete research, and then there's like the stuff that needs more research.
I think you're cutting out again.
yeah.
So if you guys can see the literature review outline in the Google Drive, you guys see that?
Yeah. Okay.
Is it the literature review prep? Is that what it's called?
It's literature review outline.
Not seeing that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
That's super sad. Somebody's in here.
I am. I'm in it. When you get into your Google Drive, it's the one of the 4. It's the one on the end.
Okay.
The one on the end for me is the literature review prep.
Oh, you're missing one. How many do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4.
There should be 5. Can you refresh the page?
I have 4 too. Okay.
Oh, I only have 4 too.
I have 5 now. I just refreshed it. Let's see.
Yeah.
So it's the one called literature review outline.
All right, I got it.
Yep. I got it too.
Okay. I'm trying to create the outline. So we have an introduction, overview of nutrition in college, and then our conclusion. So that's what I got so far.
Okay.
And our literature review is due on Wednesday, right?
Thanks.
Mhm. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Okay. So we should definitely try to meet on Monday.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how long the essay should be?
I think she said no more. Oh, the S.
The
Yes.
It said no more than 5 pages, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's hope not. That'd be ridiculous.
Right. And I can get my part done, but as far as reviewing it, my daughter-in-law is going to be induced on Monday, and I'll have my 4-year-old grandson.
Okay, I can do that for you if you need me to.
Do you have time?
Yes. I'm at home, so yeah.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, I would really, really appreciate it. I'll know Monday morning about 5:30 whether or not she's going in or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. So you're just like reviewing for grammar and things like that?
Yeah.
I mean, we can all kind of review everything we write too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad.
So basically, we just need the basic idea, and then we need to assign people different parts of the essay to write. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our body paragraphs will consist of a few paragraphs describing concrete research, a few paragraphs showing where we need more research, and so those are the topics right now that we got. We have unhealthy. That was gender differences. What did we find? That males are more unhealthy?
I don't know if they were more unhealthy, but I know that they were more unwilling to change.
Yeah, they don't seem to care as much.
Yeah, what about women? What was their deal? They cared a lot. Oh yeah, they care a lot, but they're also healthier than men.
Unhealthier, you mean, or healthier?
I think the research actually showed that they were healthier than men. So men are unhealthy, but we don't care. Women care, but they're healthy.
But
so
more healthy women also think they're more unhealthy, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
another conclusion?
Yeah, there was another one that said that that they perceive themselves as overweight when their BMI suggests they're not.
Right. Yeah.
So that can make up things. So generally, there was the freshman and sophomore. Oh, the study showed that oh. Landon, what was the research we did? What was the basic summary? We found that college students sucked pretty much. I'm trying to remember the details.
Yeah, let me see if I can go back and look at it here. Yeah, I mean, like all the articles I had suggest that college students have pretty poor health, poor nutrition. I mean, not poor health.
Yeah, like they eat less than 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day.
And then the other one I had was the eating disorder one among the minority undergraduate students and the effect stress has on that.
Do you think that would? I don't know if I want to include that one because I think that subject needs more research, but we don't really want to do that research.
Yeah, that'd be hard to do at BYU.
I don't think we should include it just because then that will make the professor go, well, why don't you do more research here? They're like, we don't want it. So better not to include it. Was there anything else?
So even if we're like writing about the stress thing, we wouldn't want to, if we're writing about the effect of stress, we wouldn't want to include that.
So it's divided in 2 sections: concrete research that's been done,
Okay.
which is overall poor health for college students. There's the freshman, sophomore phenomena. Then there's also, then we go into gender differences. That's been beaten to death by the research. So we dive in and we describe all that stuff that's happened there. And then we go into, now these are the topics that we also found that majors had this, stress levels were this, social support were this, but there's not enough research to correspond to BYU Idaho, blah, 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 blah. And then our conclusion, that's when we say, based on what we found, we would like to perform more research at BYU Idaho in regards to majors, stress, and social support, that type of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we feeling pretty good about the essay outline?
I think it looks good.
Okay. Who wants to do what?
Well, so we already all did kind of like the major research. What if we just put in like our summaries, like fix them up, put them in where they go in the outline? Or would that be too confusing?
Yep. We have to, with the essay, we just have to make it flow. And we have to use APA format, and we have to cite 10 of our research papers.
Okay. frozen again.
I think for the most part, we already have all the information that we need to do that, don't we? We might need a few more articles to
What?
quote.
I missed part of that.
Yeah, you cut out for like
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, you were gone for a while.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You should go to work for Verizon, Curtis.
Dang it. Lucy, do you want to take gender differences? I thought that was your research subject.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, Lucy's got gender differences. All right. Me and Landon both did overall poor health. I will definitely take the freshman sophomore phenomena because I did my research on that. Landon, what was the other topic you did?
All right, so let's see here.
You did social support stress?
I did peer pressure.
Peer pressure?
Yeah,
Who did social support?
that was the other guy in our group, right?
Math.
Mac? He's not here. So, Landon, do you feel like you could write a paragraph bridging the gap in between peer pressure and social support?
Yeah, I feel like I can do that.
Is it Owen? What? No, it's Ian. Isn't it Ian?
Yeah.
I can do stress levels. Debbie, yours was majors. You can talk about how we didn't have much, and that's why we need to do more research there. You can present the one article we did find, but then talk about how it's not effective because it was in Korea, and there hasn't been any other research done to back it up.
Okay.
Okay. Da, 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 then Landon, you and I will also go in and do other paragraphs in the concrete research section. Is that okay?
Say that again in the what section?
In the concrete research section
Okay.
for unhealthy.
Okay.
Okay. Debbie, what else do you want to do? Anything you're feeling confident about?
Well, let's give Max something.
Yeah. So Mac's not here. If we gave him something, he didn't do any research, so we could give him the intro, or we could give him something like that. It's hard though, because if he does do it and he's not aware of the plan, then we go in and we say this is all wrong, and we do that intro anyways.
Hopefully he'll watch the thing that you recorded, but
Hopefully, yeah. So if he does that, yeah. So we'll assign him intro.
Okay. The intro is not too difficult, so we can help him.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Lucy, you're going to be doing a lot of the review, so I don't really want to give you any more stuff.
Okay.
What's up?
I can help with the conclusion if you need.
Okay. So who feels they have a good grasp on the conclusion?
So, okay. So what did Landon say again? What did you say? Like, you summarized it super well.
So basically what I said is kind of, I think a reason it'd be cool to look at the majors is because I think it could relate to stress and kind of social support. Because social support because stress obviously has an effect on nutrition, and stress goes hand in hand with majors. There are more majors that are more stressful than others, and then there's social support that can alleviate stress.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Can I write that down here?
Do it.
Okay, so more
When we're writing that too, I can kind of help you.
yeah, that'd be awesome. And some majors are more stressful. Oops. Which equals okay, so is that kind of yeah.
Let's see. Literature. Some majors are more stressful than others. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's just I know how to write that. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. What's left?
That's it. That's all I had. Although, let me just verify really fast this other one that we're supposed to do. All right, here it is. So, lesson 4, application instructions. Meeting with your group, brainstorm items or issues you would like to research, develop 2 to 4 research questions that your group would like to answer. Writing your research questions in a document and sharing that document with all group members. So we've already done that, but we need to write 2 to 4 research questions now about that topic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what is due tomorrow? Is that this whole outline that we're doing?
Nothing's due tomorrow. I don't think.
I think something's due tomorrow, but we don't have to turn anything in tomorrow.
Oh,
What's due tomorrow?
I think it was just getting together and talking with our group.
Yeah.
It says get with your
Okay,
group,
so
with the literature review in the application activity. So we did. We've talked about
so
that.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm creating another Google Doc. This one is specifically for the lesson for application assignment. Okay, that's what I'm writing for. And basically, we've already decided what it is, but we just now have to state the stuff we want to do research on in question form.
So you're creating another, are you creating another document?
Yeah, it's called Lesson 4 Application Assignment.
Refresh.
Hey, you guys, I'm going to ask you a really dumb question. When you're in the Google Docs, where's refresh?
So it's usually, are you using Chrome? What are you using?
Chrome.
Okay, on the top right, there's a little circle that's going clockwise, and there's an arrow. It's right next to your it's your bar, right next to where your address is. You finding it?
No.
Here,
Okay,
I'll
so
screen share.
it's where it says google.com. It's right next to it. It's a little arrow in a circle.
Oh,
Okay, you see this one?
it's where it says reload the page.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. I work on a computer all day long. I can do my job, but beyond that, forget it.
Okay. So what I'm seeing for our research question is we want to know majors, stress, and social support. Those are the things that we really want to focus on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to just make a question format of that. If someone, you feel free to go in and type any questions that come to your mind about those ones.
So when do we want to start typing the actual literature review? Do we want to do it as soon as possible, or we want to meet on Monday and start working on it on Monday, since we'll have everyone, hopefully everyone here, or what do you guys want to do?
What was that, Landon?
I'm just wondering when you guys want to start writing the actual literature review.
Start after today.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have you guys have a rough draft to look over on Monday, and then finalize and tweak anything we need to before Wednesday when we need to turn it in.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. How do I? Well, I don't know.
We have 5 people on there now. Now 4.
I think I'm on there like 3 times.
Gotcha.
Remind me where you're writing the questions.
It's lesson 4 application assignment.
Okay.
So is there anything else like major that we need to decide or talk about? Because my baby's just getting kind of fussy. Sorry.
This was it. So just to give you a review of what we did today this is the lesson 4 application assignment, which we did before the lesson 3 application assignment, which is turning in the essay. So once we get these research questions figured out, we're done with that application assignment, and then all we have to worry and focus on as a group is the essay. So writing the essay by Monday.
Okay.
So you have your assignment, Lucy, you are doing gender differences, the paragraphs on gender differences, and making sure you do the APA citation of that to your research, and then helping us with the conclusion. And then, of course, you're helping us make sure everything looks good and grammatically correct.
Okay. Awesome.
Does that last question make sense, guys?
It's okay. I think I would put nutrition instead of healthier lifestyle, simply
Would you?
because we're not studying exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I good to go? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Hey,
Alright.
Lucy, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Lucy, thank you.
See ya.
I am. Yep.
Does more social support correlate to
Make it quick. What does it say?
different college majors with better nutrition choices than others?
I gotta share that with the guys. Okay, you guys. Are you all still there? Okay. Speaking of nutrition, my son just brought this to me. Tell me if you can you read it?
I think women have a hard time deciding what to eat. Oh, I just lost it. It went up to Curtis's screen. Let's see. Okay. Women have a hard time deciding what to eat because the last time they did, all humanity was.
Is that awesome or what?
That's pretty funny.
That was Chris that handed me that.
Very nice.
Okay.
That was pretty right on time there, kid.
He must have been listening.
Oh, we're good. We just need to get our paragraph. I'm sorry, Landon, what?
He must have been listening to our whole conversation.
He was just downstairs. Chris.
Hi.
Hey, man.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Doing good.
So let's just review really fast the questions we got and decide which ones we like, edit the ones we do like and don't, and get rid of the ones we don't, and things like that. So let's take a look at them. I like that. I like this one.
I like the first 4 for sure.
I do too. I think that bottom one is just a repeat of up above of the first question.
This is the instructions. Develop 2 to 4 research questions that your group would like to answer.
Okay.
And is this for our lit review or for our research, like topic paper?
What was that?
So are these questions for our literature review?
So this is a separate assignment. But
Well, if it's a separate assignment and it's just for our research, I think the first 4 are like spot on for what we want to do.
I agree with Landon. I think the first 4 questions. I'm sorry, Curtis, if I'm talking over the top of you. You're cutting out.
kind of can.
I think the first 4 questions kind of includes the bottom 2 as well.
I think Curtis is frozen.
I think he is too. No, he's saying delete the last 2.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he's froze.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys.
It's all good.
All right,
Okay.
should we delete the last 2?
Yeah, I think the first 4 are pretty spot on for what we want to do our research on. So
Okay. Dunzo. All right. So yay, we did the 4th application assignment. So
We're ahead of the game.
what was that?
We're ahead of the game.
Yeah. So what we got to worry about now is just writing your portions of the essay and having that ready by Monday night to be reviewed, and then make any tweaks so we can finalize it by Wednesday.
all right. And you made assignments on the Google Doc, right?
Yeah, if you go to the Google Doc, you'll see that Landon is assigned with me. You and me will be working on the concrete research about how college students are unhealthy. Then you're also doing the peer pressure and social support section of the needs more research section.
Cool.
And then that's it. And also something to be thinking about too is that we're going to have paragraphs that introduce the subparagraphs. So once we write the paragraphs on these need more research, we need an introductory paragraph to say, these are topics that we'll talk about now that need more research. And then we go into the ones that need more research. So.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that's it. Do you guys have anything?
No, sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
We're getting
On
together
Monday,
right?
weekend.
What was that?
We're getting together on Monday, right? Same time?
Yep. Monday night.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
Okay, see ya.
See ya. Have a
Peace.
good one.